Now, in 1966, I'd already built my own 8.5-inch reflector. I'd observed everything worthwhile that there was worth observing, but I didn't have any structured observing campaigns of my own. It was joining Crayford and particularly listening to Gordon that I started to observe seriously. Initially, as variable star section director, you may be surprised that I started to observe, where's Bill? Well, Bill's not here, Bill's helping out upstairs. I started to observe the moon, and then Jupiter and Saturn, and in particular meteors and other such objects. Variable stars held little interest for me at that time, but I'm not going to talk any more about variable stars. Let's just move on a little bit to, he suggested the formation of the Society in 1961. In case you can't read the small print, that's what it says. And in case you can't even read that, Gordon Taylor, British astronomer at the Royal Greenwich Observatory, former president of the British Astronomical Association. In 1958, he made the first observation of the occultation of the star-blind asteroid, Vesta. Taylor's predictions of asteroid occultations are now used to plan major observing expeditions. That was only the start. So we have a special presentation to Gordon. What do we give a man who's got everything? We made inquiries discreetly of his wife, and she said, yes, what do you give a man who's got everything? We have the same problem every Christmas and birthday. We don't know. Now again, as director of the Variable Star section, and at one time editor of the Circulars, Karen Holland, I've noticed, this is relevant, I've noticed she used to wear rather interesting earrings. At one stage, they were little sort of twirls. Yet it was a spiral galaxy that she'd had specially made for earrings. Another occasion, toads. Toads? Yes, toads is an acronym for tremendous outburst amplitude dwarf system. Variable stars, okay. So anyway, I go to this chap and I actually get him to make my wife a pair of earrings, but they have actually nothing to do with astronomy at all. But he did other things as well, in particular engraved plaques. And we had this idea of making some special variable star awards on an engraved plaque. And that's precisely what we've done for Gordon. That's actually what it looks like. And this is what it looks like. And it is, of course, what's supposed to be. Uranus, just occulting a star, which was another one of Gordon's great predictions. And again, if you can't read the small print, it says, presented to Gordon Taylor, director of the, I'm sure you can read that. But whilst you're reading that, would you please applaud at the same time and welcome Gordon Taylor to accept this award.
It has, of course, been a very interesting career for me, and as I've done also from my work at the observatory, I've taken over the handbook, and I think that was it the last 35 years, something like that. I've been director, and therefore I would also like to thank all the people who helped me, because I don't produce a handbook just like that. There are a large number of people, and I'm sure there's some of them in the audience whose names I have forgotten because of senile decay, have been contributing to the handbook for many years. And in particular, the few section officers that I have done a great deal of work. Of course, nobody can produce, I think, so many publications for so many years for making mistakes. And as the director of the section and the production of the handbook, I'm sure that I made my rather usual number of mistakes, which I hope will be forgiven. Now, as I am not actually a banker, I am, to the great relief of the Treasurer, I have decided not to put in a multi-million pound claim for a bonus. Though it could be truly described as astronomical. During the time I've been looking after the handbook, we have, of course, had quite a number of changes. I hope I have managed to cope with these, because very early in my career I had to go over for my work to the US Naval Observatory in Washington. And in one of the rooms there, I saw this magnificent picture. A very stern old man, large, hands on the desk, and underneath were the words, "We've always done it that way." I thought, that's how I must not deal with the handbook. So we have had a number of changes. In fact, I think as soon as I came in, we were, not particularly due to me, but we were changing from using handheld bronze beaker. Anybody else here not old enough to know what a bronze beaker is? For calculating, we were changing over, of course, to writing programs on computers. And almost immediately I brought in another change, and that was that the handbook would only deal in SI units, or at any rate in metric, and no longer use imperial measures. I think there were one or two dissident voices, but I got over it. Well, the only other thing I would like to say is, of course, that we must move on and carry on with these changes, and I'm very delighted to see that Sheridan Williams turned up a few years ago to do something which I've been trying to do for 10 years, but we've never had enough people in the section, and to produce the handbook in electronic format. So I'm sure that he will carry on in exactly the same traditions, and may I again thank you for this very much appreciated award. Thank you.